Hello, it's Kayla, and today I'm going to be showing you all the books I am bringing back to college. Back to school, it's here again. Today is Wednesday, and during this time, I am going to be going back to school on Friday, so not that long now. I still can't believe it. The summer has gone by so fast, but now that the week is coming up where I'm actually going back, the anticipation is just like killing me because now I just want to get back to school because it feels like so slow now, the time going past until I get back, and it's just a whirlwind of emotions and I'm rambling, but that's not what you're here for today. You're not here for rambling, you're here for books. That's what this is all about. So I have 11 books here with me, and I'm not going to be showing you them in any particular order except the first two, which are books I have already read. The other 9 books I have not read yet, but I am going to bring them to school in hopes of reading them at one point or another, because I am an English major and that does take up a lot of my time doing other things like writing papers and reading books for actual class, but hopefully I'll get around to at least some of these. I brought way too many books last year. I probably brought like, I don't know, 20? Maybe a little less than 20. That's like excessive, but like taking books from home to school, it's a process, and you don't know how heavy books are until you're trying to move them from one distance to another, other than reorganizing your bookcases and your bookshelves, which I do quite often. I think 11 is a good round number. I actually like even numbers more than odd, so I might take one book out, I might add another book. That's just me. Tell me, is anybody like one of those people who will put the channel, like the volume of the remote on the TV to the number that they want? Like, I'm very strange with it. Like with most people, it's like, nah, it's just even numbers I like. But I am different. I like multiples of 2 and 5. Meaning there could be even numbers, but there could also be numbers like 15 or 25 or 35, that kind of thing. Should I have gotten into the topic of this video by now? Probably. Have I done it yet? No. So how about we do that now? The first book I'm going to be bringing back to my sophomore year of college is my favorite book, Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I've expressed my love for this book time and time again on this channel. I just love it so much. I love everything about it. I just am such a huge fan of sci-fi and tech stuff and 80s pop culture, and this has a lot of all of that in one book. So that made me really happy. And I would like to mention, speaking of 80s pop culture and sci-fi, I just finished watching Stranger Things. I finally got on the bandwagon. I watched it all in a day yesterday. I believe the hype now. The hype is real and it is true, and I love it so much. Maybe I'll make a Stranger Things video because that seems to be the thing going on right now, and I do feel the need to talk about it with somebody. Yeah, Stranger Things video probably coming very soon. The next book, which is the other book that I've already read, is a book that I love, and it is a part of my favorite series, not my favorite book, but this is like the series that made me feel like I could say definitely this is my favorite series, no questions asked, even before the series ended, and that is Cinder, part of the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I was having a hard time picking which Lunar Chronicles book I wanted to bring because I brought all of them to school last year, which probably wasn't the best idea, again, because books are heavy. But I decided Cress is my favorite book in the series, Scarlet's my favorite character, even though Chris is the one that reminds me most of myself. Winter is a great finale, but you know, if one of these days I ever want to get back into the series and reread it just because of how much nostalgia it'll bring and just how much I love it so much, I would start with Cinder, so I had to pick it because it's just such a wonderful book and a wonderful series, so it felt like the obvious choice. The rest of the books here that I have not read, I am not going to get into too much detail, but I'm going to tell you maybe why I picked this book or a little gist of how I acquired it and things like that. I'll just see how it goes when I pick each book up, so let's go. So the first book I'm bringing to school with me is Alive by Scott Sigler. I have heard so many things about this on the BookTube community. Most of these books I've heard about through BookTube, but this just sounds so interesting, and I've heard such good things about Scott as a person too, that he's just an awesome person, so I think reading something from a nice guy is gonna be nice. I really should broaden my vocabulary considering that I love reading and I know a lot of vocab, but then talking in the moment to a camera, it just kind of goes in one ear out the other and everything leaves my mind. But anyway, yeah, Alive, it just sounds like such a cool premise. Just basically it's about a girl who I believe wakes up inside a coffin, and when she opens that coffin, there's a bunch of other people in the room with her that are also opening coffins and waking up from them, even though they're not dead. And I think they have to get out of like this maze-like building, something like that, and they don't remember anything about themselves or who they are. And I just love this kind of spooky, supernatural premise to this. I love anything that's like otherworldly, escaping into something that's just much cooler than the world we live in, even though contemporaries are also the bomb. And speaking of contemporaries, my next book I'm gonna bring is My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick. This is probably the last book I acquired, actually. I went on vacation recently, and I'm always looking for a bookshop wherever I go on vacation, and I have been wanting to read this book for a really long time now. The first time I heard about it was from Christine from Poland Bananas Books when she did a book review on it. I watched the non-spoilery section, and it sounded like such a good, cute contemporary read, and I really like to read contemporaries in the summer especially. That's basically mostly what I've been reading this summer, but I wanted to get to this before the summer season is technically over, so I think this is going to be the next book I read after the one I am currently reading. The fifth book I am bringing is Library of Souls by Ransom Briggs. I have such a history with the Miss Peregrine series. I read it for book club my freshman year of high school, and then I just kept continuing reading the rest of the series. And this is the finale in this trilogy, and I bought it when it first came out last year. I don't know, I don't want it to end. I don't know what's gonna happen, and I'm kind of nervous but kind of excited. And it'd be so easy to complete another series to check off my list if I just read this book. And hopefully I'll be getting around to it soon, because Ransom Briggs, just his writing is just amazing, and the way he tells his stories is so unique and fantastic. I know it's going to be a great ending. Another book from an amazing man that I'm going to be bringing with me is Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard by Rick Riordan. I have this book and The Sword of Summer with me that I haven't read yet. I bought them both when they first came out. I just haven't gotten around to reading my Rick Riordan books again. You know, after a while, I read a Rick Riordan book, and then I'll forget how much I love them and like how amazing they are. And then when it comes around to reading a new release from him, it just takes me a while to actually read it and get into it, especially when it's a new book in a new series. I've had The Red Pyramid for years now, and I still haven't read it, but I thought I should start with Magnus Chase since its publication date was out before Sword of Summer, even though I kind of want to get to that one more because I'm more familiar with the characters and the world. But it does sound interesting, and Magnus is Annabeth's cousin, so that kind of helps me push me towards this book a little bit more. The next book I wanted to read that I was extremely interested in, so I had to bring it to school, is Frontlines by Michael Grant. I have only read part of one of Michael Grant's books. I've only read up to like page 60, and I just never got back around to it. But this premise is just so captivating and so different that I really wanted to read it. It just sounds like so cool. Definitely about female empowerment and feminism and all of that. It's basically World War II if women were allowed to be drafted into the war, and it's about three main characters that are all women, all involved in World War II in 1942, and it just sounds really interesting. And I'm not a big historical fiction buff, but this I just couldn't pass. I'm all for female empowerment all the time. Next book I'm gonna bring, you're probably gonna be really proud that I have. Actually, this is the last book I acquired. I got this like 2 days ago, I just remembered, so My Life Next Door was not the last book I bought. But I said the book that I had no excuse not to buy in my last video in my book struggles tag was The Savage Song, and guess what? I bought it! The Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. I wanted to actually go to Barnes & Noble with my mom to get an expansion pack for my Cards Against Humanity, even though they didn't have any at my Barnes & Noble, and I ended up buying this instead. And I was just so happy, and I can't wait to read it. I'm definitely gonna read this like super soon. It's a toss-up between The Savage Song and My Life Next Door right now, because I really want to read both. And I'm kind of leaning towards this one a little bit more, but we'll see. Next book I'm going to be bringing is The Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. I'm currently reading The Chamber of Secrets right now, and it's just been taking me forever to read it for some reason. I said in my previous video that I've been kind of in a big reading slump recently. I'm almost finished with it now, so hopefully if I finish it by Friday, the day that I leave for school, I can be prepared to read Prisoner of Azkaban next whenever I get to it. And the last two books are both very futuristic sci-fi kind of tales. They both have to do with space and stuff like that, and those would be Broken Stars and Armada. These Broken Stars you've probably heard of. It's been going around for such a long time in the reading community. It's by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. I believe, I want to say it's like a futuristic Titanic, but don't take my word for it. It's been a long time since I read the description of this book. I have this one as well as The Shattered World, which is behind me and down on my bookcase. I love space and sci-fi stuff ever since I read the Lunar Chronicles. I just think that it's just so cool and interesting, thus me loving Stranger Things, but this isn't about Stranger Things, I just had to mention it again. And I read like the first few pages when I first bought it in the car, but then I just never got around to it, and I don't know why. This usually happens, where I'll read the first few pages of a book and just it'll vanish out of my mind, and then I'll find something else that I have to get to sooner. So I really, really want to read this book very soon. Maybe if I get to it. I want to read all of these books right now, honestly, but you know, I can't. I'm not a fast reader. I don't have like an eidetic memory or anything like that. I wish I did, but none of us are superheroes in the end, even though we wish. And this is getting depressing. Why am I doing this to myself? Let's move on. Okay, anyway, in the last book, Armada by Ernest Cline, author of my favorite book, Ready Player One. This has a very similar premise to Ready Player One. It's about a boy named Zach, I think, and he plays this video game where it has a lot to do with like rockets and space aliens and ships and fighting aliens and whatnot. And basically his video game comes to life, and these aliens in their spaceships from his video game start invading Earth, and he has to save everybody. I've heard that it's not as good as Ready Player One, but I did still hear very good things about it. I've read reviews and things like that, and I've had this book for a really long time now, and I really, really want to get to it soon. So those are the 11 books that I am going to be bringing with me to college. Yes, to college and school. College. Again, this list is subject to change, but if any of you have read any of these books and love them, please let me know in the comments below and notify me if it is worth reading sooner rather than later. And so I will see you sooner rather than later. Have a good school year for all of you that have already started class, and good luck to the people who haven't started yet. I believe that we can all feel for each other in the situation, the nerves, the excitement, all of that. Let's do this. Let's have a good year. Summer's over. I can't believe it. But anyway, I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!